Journey into the dark side of an ancient civilization. Radiating an ominous light in its path, the Chaos Comet threatens the existence of the planet. Battles erupt and a tentative peace is returned to the lands. Danger lurks as the Chaos Comet orbits and dreadful beasts lie awaiting. In the age of exploration, a boy named Will is born. Tragedy strikes during an expedition to the Tower of Babel, separating Will from his father. Telekinetic forces awaken as Will returns to South Cape. Armed with his transformation abilities of two great warriors, Will must save the planet. Gaia, Will's guiding spirit, bestows magical powers and advice along his journey. With the help of his friends, Will must battle relentless enemies and solve the puzzles of the ancient ruins. Patience and knowledge are essential to reunite this father and son. This is Illusion of Gaia, a linear action-adventure game from Quintet, published by Nintendo, released in 1994, called Illusion of Time in Europe, and Gaia Gensuki in Japan, and I probably said that wrong, and guess what? I don't even care. Well, what can I tell you? I had this game when I was a kid. I nearly finished it when I was a kid. This is part of the unofficial trilogy with Quintet's other two games, Soul Blazer and Terranigma. I think ActRaiser could kind of sort of fit into that as well, so I mean, it is part of the trilogy, I guess, but at the same time, it could be part of just Quintet's library, really. Excuse me. It has a large cast of characters. Will, Frieden, and Shadow are the only playable characters in the game. They each have unique abilities, and certain areas are impassable without a specific character. The characters gain techniques as part of the story. Will's techniques are all based on reaching new areas with incidental combat applications, while Frieden's techniques are combat-oriented. Shadow arrives late in the game, but being such a powerful character, he causes Frieden to be nearly obsolete. Combat is simple. Characters share the same health and defense, but have different levels of strength. Let's see. Attacks are mostly exclusively melee, using Will's flute, Frieden's sword, or Shadow's pseudopod. Enemy health bars appear upon attacking, displaying as red spheres. If you've seen Soul Blazer and the other games, you know about this. Bosses cannot be revisited, and enemies do not reappear unless Will loses all his lives or exit an area and then return. It has a general design unique to some simple RPGs. There's no experience system of the typical RPGs. Instead, you have a more novel system of advancing the player's stats. Defeating all enemies in the room earns a player a permanent stat bonus. They can be attack, defense, or health. While returning to a cleared area will cause the enemies to reappear. The bonus for defeating them, does not. Also, after the enemy is killed, it will leave a stone, either a small or great, and collecting 100 of these allows you to restart closer to where you died, basically by earning yourself a new life. I'm not going to get into the plot or the story too much. Basically, this really kind of takes place in what could be Earth in about the 16th century, and you just visit some interesting locations. Historical but fantasy-based versions of these places, like Incan ruins, the Nazca lines, Angkor Wat, the Great Wall of China, and the pyramids. And we have to climb the Tower of Babel. There were changes made due to Nintendo's censorship policies to make the certain elements less dark. One of the native tribes was originally cannibals with skeletal remains lying around by the village, but that was removed. Numerous religious references were changed or removed. Will's school was initially a Sunday school run by a priest and held in a Christian church. The American release simply identifies the building as a school, replaces the crosses with statues. Translation error in a sequence near the middle of the game suggests that Seth's consciousness has been absorbed into a sea monster named Riverson, where the Japanese version explains that he's been transformed into a Leviathan. A final line in the climax of the game, which two of the characters comment about saying Earth, mention that this must be what God feels like. That was also removed. Nintendo released a bundle pack in the US while supplies last, included a one-size-fits-all t-shirt with the logo of Frieden and Shadow. As a Nintendo-published title in the US, the game received special attention in Nintendo Power, and additional merchandise was sold in Superpower Supply's catalog. Quintet reported that Illusion of Gaia sold 200,000 copies in Japan, 300,000 in North America, and 150,000 in Europe, adding up to 650,000 worldwide. In comparison, Soul Blazer didn't even sell 300,000. GamePro praised the puzzle-solving elements, effect-heavy graphics, eclectic soundtrack with a gentle difficulty slope, and added that the game, however, has sacrificed the central theme that gave the original Soul Blazer and ActRaiser before it a distinct sense of direction and purpose. The impression that your good works have an ongoing impact on the game world. On the other hand, Illusion of Gaia enjoys a sense of worldliness that Soul Blazer didn't have, and you never quite know what's coming next. And that's the best thing that could be said about an RPG. Was rated the 186th best game made on a Nintendo system in Nintendo Power's Top 200 Games in 2006. I really, really like this game. I like the entire Soul Blazer set, and ActRaiser included, except at least the first one. And you know what? Quintet. Some pretty dang good developers. They did ActRaiser, Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Robotrek, Terranigma, Solo Crisis, Code R, Planet Laika, Shenmue, development support anyway, Godzilla Generations, and an Inuyasha game. They do good work, them nice Quintet folks.